Hello and welcome to ALW Now. My name is Jateen, and today we're going to be looking at preseason. No, we're not going to be looking at transfer news and any other transfer related business. What we're going to be looking at is preseason from a science perspective. What is Jurgen Klopp and his team of sports scientists, exercise physicians, and nutritionists doing in order to prepare our players for the start of the new season? As we know, most of our players reported back on Wednesday, the 5th of July. That's approximately 3 weeks ago to start the preseason schedule. Since then, we've played 4 friendly games. But let's walk you through what has happened in the 3 weeks that the players have been there already and what is expected for the next 2 to 3 weeks before the start of our first competitive game against Watford in the English Premier League season. So, when the players returned back, they would have undergone a series of tests. Basically, the test would test their fitness as well as anthropometric data, which is basically looking at your body dimensions. So, height won't change much, but you're looking at body mass. Some players had a good summer, some players partied more than others. So, it's basically checking our baseline. So, what would have happened at the end of last season? Before the players went off on their summer break, they would have all gone a series of similar tests, data recorded, to be used as a baseline in terms of what they are required. Further, they would have each been given a specific individual program. Yes, I know it's their summer holidays, and they would want a break, and they would get a break. But the club expects, and in the age of science and professionalism, especially the money involved in football now, the club would expect that the players, even though on holiday, would be able to keep up certain levels of fitness as well as not letting themselves go too much. I think in the 1970s, in the 1980s, guys would come back from for preseason and would basically straight out of the pub onto the training field. It's completely different and completely changed now. So, as I was saying, the each player would have been taken through a series of tests before they left for the summer holidays, each given an individual training program in terms of keeping up fitness, muscle mass, muscle fitness, etc., to maintain their fitness throughout the summer. And some would have been given more specific programs, and I think some players also undertook themselves to hire the services of strength and conditioning coaches. I think if you looked at Daniel Sturridge, he was in the US. Loris Karius was in the US. Adam Lallana also, he basically undertook his own strength and fitness program. So players obviously, yes, they do need a break to recover and recuperate, but they want to get ahead and they want an advantage in the new season. So the first day of preseason, or the first two or 3 days of preseason, we saw on LFC TV a whole range of testing taking place. What this was basically testing in terms of measuring your fitness, measuring the players' fitness in terms of the anaerobic fitness, where they are now compared to where they were when they left at the end of last season. Also, your body dimensions. Did they have a really good summer? Looking at their body weight, their muscle mass, body composition, all of those sort of things. Also, will they look at the flexibility of the athletes in terms of the range of motion, in terms of the stretching. How has that changed over the 2 or 3 weeks of period of inactivity? As well as balance between your left hand side and the right hand side, and specific areas that need to be strengthened. Because obviously balance is key. You don't want a specific side stronger than another. So in terms of looking at it, so the first 2 or 3 days would be used specifically for seeing where our players are right now and what specific programs or what specific exercises they need to be doing to get them back all to a same base, a similar level, a similar fitness level, and exactly that's what your testing is for. I think so. In the first couple of weeks, that's 3 weeks gone already. we all would have heard the terror of Klopp's double and triple sessions. And he has implemented this, but we need to understand that the double and triple sessions are not all high intensity workouts and high intensity stuff. You're basically looking at maybe a session in the morning, guys come in, have breakfast together, a session of running, an anaerobic session. Um, and in the afternoon, lunchtime, or after lunchtime, they do a gym or fitness session, well, a strength or fitness session in the gym in terms of muscle mass strengthening. And then in the evenings, or late afternoons, you're looking at just a little bit of ball work in terms of tactical information. This is the sort of things I think once the preseason games start, this will be become more important. But it's just basically getting used to the ball again, just doing a few drills, a few five-a-side drills, etc. So those are the triple sessions. They are not all high intensity sessions. There might be one high intensity and two lower intensity sessions, but this will all be controlled. Um, what obviously in terms of our schedule, so we've got 8 preseason games scheduled. We've already completed 4 of the preseason games. And the preseason games, basically, we started on our training schedule on the 5th of July, and within a week, the Wednesday, the 12th of July, we were playing a game against Tranmere, and we played Wednesday, Friday, Tranmere, and Wigan. And again, it's just to give the players a run out. In fact, the games would be less intense than the training session. I think the games would be a sort of a break from the training sessions. The training sessions are your high intensity situations, and the games would just be a break from that. I'm not going to look into the formation and the tactics and those sort of things. We're just looking at from a fitness point of view. Interesting to see everybody's been playing 45 minutes at a time. I think in the Asia Cup, there was a silly rule that you can't substitute the whole team or 11 players at a time. So what would happen is a first 11 would play 45 minutes. At halftime, you'd make 4 changes. 5 minutes into the second half, you'd make another 4 changes. 5 minutes into the second half, you'd make another 4 changes. Eventually, the whole first 11 has been replaced. So at the moment, everybody's playing 45 minutes at a time. What will be interesting to see, I think now when the squad has traveled to Germany, and we on this coming Saturday on the 29th, we're playing a friendly against Hertha Berlin. And then next week, Tuesday, we're playing a friendly, obviously, against Bayern Munich in the Audi Cup. I think what we will see there is players playing for an extended duration of time. So I don't think it will be 45 minutes. Players might be pushed up to, you're looking at, say, 55 to 60 minutes at a time, giving them more time. And also, I think the team will start looking at which players play together. And Klopp will be looking, especially towards the last 2 games, which is the 2nd of August and the 5th of August, in terms of starting to look at the starting lineup. I think the players that have been reported for preseason from the start, yes, there were 1 or 2 that came a little bit later. I think Phil Coutinho and Adam Lallana came in because they were on international duty. They should all be fit and ready for the start of the new season. I think Emre Can came in back this past Saturday. Sadio Mane also, he started full train on Saturday. And I honestly don't think we'll see them involved for the Watford game. Ideally, you want to give basically for using a periodization cycle in terms of sort of 1 to 2 weeks build up. The 3rd week, you start using sport-specific or ball-specific skills. For the 4th week also, then you start increasing the sport-specific skills and the drills, and sort of by week 5. So the preseason sort of cycle or periodization period we're looking at is about 5 weeks, which I think unfortunately Emre Can and Sadio Mane won't have gone through. I think we know that Jurgen Klopp is really strict on making sure players go through their specific cycles. So I don't expect to see Emre Can especially till before our first game is against Watford. I don't think we'll see him play against Watford. The first leg qualifier for the Champions League is the 15th of the 16th. Then we've got a game against Crystal Palace. I think we'll see Emre Can back for the second leg. He might be available for the second leg or Arsenal game. And I think similar in terms of Sadio Mane. He also will be a player that might be available only from the Crystal Palace or the second leg of the Champions League qualifier. I think that's just a brief introduction in terms of what the players have been doing. They've been doing a lot of testing, triple sessions in terms of you do a lot of aerobic, getting your fitness test up. We've seen the tests where the guys have had little blood samples taken from behind the ear. That's literally to test your aerobic threshold in terms of test your fitness. That replaces the old bleep test that we all, what most of us are familiar with. That's basically taking a blood sample in terms of seeing where your blood lactate threshold level is. Basically, the maximum amount of exercise you can do before lactate starts building in your body, meaning in layman's terms, before your body starts fatiguing and tiring. So we've had all of the tests done. Obviously, you've seen them guys playing with the heart rate monitors. So there's been a lot of aerobic activities done because you need to get the aerobic fitness levels up. We obviously don't see, but there's a lot of gym work going on behind the scenes, a lot of gym sessions going on behind the scenes. And the ball specific skills will become more and more prevalent and dominant over the next 2 weeks, getting ready for the start of the season. Klopp's biggest aim is obviously to have his players fresh, to have his players ready. As I said, I don't think we'll see Emre Can or Sadio Mane starting the season, but come end of August they should be available. And he wants to make sure that every player has gone through their specific routine so that they're fresh and ready, not just for the season, but to be able to sustain the entire season all the way up until May. A special shout out, I think, to Daniel Sturridge. I think it's the first time in a long time that he's actually gone through a full preseason. He's looking really good, looking really sharp. And I think, the guys have done some magnificent work in terms of getting him ready and preparing him for the coming season. We could have a new Daniel Sturridge, a fit Daniel Sturridge, which would be fantastic. So guys, that's just a brief insight into what the sports science, how the preparation is going in the preseason. Watch our other videos where the guys discuss the games and the tactics more in detail and specific players. Go and like our YouTube channel, ARW Now. Please subscribe, like our YouTube channel. Follow us also on Twitter at the official ARW. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it and see you soon.